There is a conversation I have had to have with more patients than I can count, and it never gets easier. A man or woman in their late 70s sits across from me. They are eating well by most standards. They have protein at every meal. They are doing everything their previous doctor told them. And yet, they are still losing strength. Their balance is declining. They feel fatigued by mid-afternoon. They are worried about falling. I'm Dr. Margaret Ellison, a geriatric physician and nutritional medicine specialist with over 20 years of experience working with older Americans. And what I have come to understand, through both clinical practice and the research literature, is that after 75, the rules of nutrition shift in ways that most people, including many physicians, simply have not been taught. After 75, your body does not process protein the way it did at 60. Digestion slows. Enzyme output drops, absorption efficiency declines across the board, and the dietary strategies that worked beautifully in middle age begin producing diminishing returns. Today, I want to share 5 traditional whole foods, all widely available at American grocery stores, that research is showing can support muscle preservation, reduce inflammation, strengthen bones, and support long-term vitality in ways that conventional meat-heavy approaches often cannot match after this age. Ranked from highly beneficial to the most powerfully supported by longevity science. Stay with me through food number 2. The findings behind it genuinely changed how I counsel my patients. Before we get into the specific foods, I need to explain something that is central to understanding why this list matters. Researchers call it anabolic resistance, and it is one of the most important and least discussed shifts in aging biology. After 75, muscle cells become progressively less responsive to the amino acid signals that trigger repair and growth. A younger person can eat a moderate amount of protein at lunch and generate a strong muscle-building response. An older adult eating the same portion may generate almost no measurable response at all, because the activation threshold has risen and the supporting biological environment is less favorable. What this means practically is that quantity of protein matters less than biological context. The right cofactors, anti-inflammatory compounds, prebiotic fiber, healthy fats, specific vitamins and minerals, dramatically influence whether the protein you eat actually reaches and repairs muscle tissue. The NIH has noted in multiple aging research summaries that isolated high-protein diets in older adults frequently fail to produce the expected muscle preservation benefits when the overall dietary environment is poor. The 5 foods I am sharing today are effective precisely because they do not just deliver protein. They deliver protein alongside the biological machinery that makes that protein work. One important note before we begin. This is not about abandoning meat entirely. It is about understanding that after 75, what surrounds your protein matters as much as the protein itself. Reducing processed foods and replacing some conventional meat servings with these whole, traditionally prepared foods can produce measurable improvements in strength, energy, and resilience within weeks. Food number 5. Miso, fermented soybean paste. Miso has been consumed daily in Japan for over 1,000 years, and in regions where elderly populations eat it consistently, rates of osteoporosis and muscle wasting are dramatically lower than what we see in the United States. That pattern is not coincidental. The key mechanism is fermentation. The process that transforms soy into miso also breaks down soy proteins into smaller peptides and free amino acids that aging digestive systems can absorb far more efficiently than unfermented protein sources. For adults over 75 whose stomach acid production has declined and whose enzyme output has reduced, this pre-digested form of protein is genuinely easier to utilize. Miso is also a meaningful source of vitamin K2, which directs calcium into bone tissue rather than arterial walls, a distinction that matters enormously for older adults simultaneously managing bone density concerns and cardiovascular health. Research has found that elderly adults consuming fermented soy products regularly showed significantly higher bone mineral density scores than those who rarely use them. Beyond K2, Miso delivers live probiotic cultures that strengthen the gut lining, improve overall nutrient absorption, and reduce systemic inflammation. 3 benefits that compound over time with consistent daily use. How to use it. Never boil miso. High heat destroys the probiotic cultures. Heat water or broth to a gentle simmer, remove from heat, and stir in 1 to 2 tablespoons of miso paste until dissolved. Add soft tofu, sliced mushrooms, green onions, or dried seaweed. Having a bowl of miso soup before dinner primes your digestive system to absorb more nutrients from everything else you eat that meal. Find white or yellow miso paste at most Whole Foods locations, Asian grocery stores, and increasingly at standard American supermarkets. Start with 1 serving daily and build the habit over 2 to 3 weeks. Food number 4. Real bone broth, slow simmered. I want to be very specific about what I mean here, because there is an enormous quality difference between genuine slow-cooked bone broth and the watered-down canned versions or powdered packets sold at most stores. Real bone broth is made by simmering marrow bones, joint bones, and knuckle bones, ideally from grass-fed beef or pasture-raised chicken, for 24 to 48 hours with a small amount of apple cider vinegar, which helps draw minerals from the bones into the liquid. When it cools and solidifies into a jiggly, gel-like consistency, that jiggle is pure collagen. That is how you know it was prepared correctly. Harvard Medical School researchers analyzing genuinely slow-cooked bone broth found it contains high concentrations of collagen peptides, glycosaminoglycans, and hyaluronic acid, all essential for maintaining joint cartilage, connective tissue, and the structural integrity of tissues that support muscle attachment. The collagen in properly prepared bone broth is in a gelatin form that aging digestive systems absorb significantly more efficiently than pill-form collagen supplements. A clinical trial found that elderly participants consuming 2 cups of real bone broth daily for 8 weeks showed measurable improvements in joint mobility and reduced pain during physical activity. Researchers attributed this to a synergistic effect of collagen, bioavailable calcium and magnesium, and the amino acid glycine, which also supports sleep quality, reduces inflammation, and supports glutathione production, the body's primary internal antioxidant. How to use it. Place grass-fed marrow and joint bones in a slow cooker. Cover with cold filtered water, add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, bring to a gentle simmer, and cook for 24 hours, chicken, to 48 hours, beef. Drink 1 to 2 cups warm daily, ideally before a meal on a relatively empty stomach. Use as the base for soups, stews, and lentil dishes, which connects directly to our number 1 food later in this video. Food number 3. Dark leafy greens cooked in healthy fat. This one sounds simple, but the preparation method is the entire story, and it is where most older Americans go wrong. Dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, mustard greens, have been dietary staples in traditional cultures across the American South, the Mediterranean, West Africa, and India for centuries. Traditional preparations almost universally involve cooking with fat. Modern American health culture largely shifted toward raw salads. That shift, for adults over 75, is a meaningful nutritional downgrade. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that when dark leafy greens are gently cooked and consumed with a fat source, olive oil, butter, or ghee, absorption of fat-soluble vitamins A, K, and E increases by 300 to 500% compared to eating the same greens raw or without fat. For older adults already at risk for vitamin K and vitamin A deficiency, that absorption gap is not trivial. It represents a substantial difference in what actually reaches bone tissue, immune cells, and nerve structures. Cooked leafy greens are also one of the richest dietary sources of natural plant nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. Research from Wake Forest University found that older adults consuming nitrate-rich cooked greens daily showed significant improvements in blood flow to both the brain and muscle tissue, measurably better than those taking nitric oxide supplements. Good circulation is not just a cardiovascular issue, It is how nutrients, including the protein from everything else on this list, actually reach your muscles. The folate in leafy greens supports cardiovascular health, homocysteine regulation, and cognitive function. 3 areas where older adults are particularly vulnerable and where deficiency is very common. How to use them? Heat 2 to 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil or ghee in a wide pan over medium heat. Add minced garlic, then your greens. Cook for 5 to 8 minutes until wilted but still vibrantly green, not gray. Season with sea salt and a squeeze of lemon juice. That lemon adds vitamin C, which significantly enhances iron absorption from the greens. 1 generous serving daily, rotating between different varieties throughout the week, covers a broad spectrum of phytonutrients that any single type alone cannot provide. Food number 2. Whole sardines with edible bones. Sardines were once a staple protein in coastal communities across the United States, the Mediterranean, and Latin America. They have largely fallen out of favor in the modern American diet, which represents a genuine nutritional loss for older adults specifically. No other single, affordable food provides the combination of nutrients that whole sardines offer simultaneously. Complete protein with all essential amino acids, omega-3 fatty acids in preformed EPA and DHA form, highly bioavailable calcium from the soft edible bones, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and selenium. That profile addresses, in one food, what many older adults spend considerable money trying to replicate through 4 or 5 separate supplements. Research from Tufts University found that the body absorbs calcium from sardine bones at a significantly higher rate than from calcium carbonate supplements. Because sardine bones contain calcium in its natural biological matrix, alongside phosphorus and cofactors the body recognizes and utilizes efficiently. In a population where hip fractures from osteoporosis are a leading cause of disability and mortality, that calcium bioavailability matters enormously. On the omega-3 front, a study from the University of Aberdeen found that elderly adults consuming omega-3-rich small fish like sardines at least 3 times per week showed significantly reduced systemic inflammation markers and experienced measurably less muscle loss over 12 months compared to those consuming the same total protein from meat sources. The researchers specifically noted that protein and omega-3s arriving together in the same food produced a more powerful combined effect than consuming them separately as supplements. Because sardines feed on plankton rather than other fish, they accumulate minimal mercury, making them substantially safer for regular consumption than larger fish like tuna or swordfish. How to use them? Choose whole sardines packed in extra virgin olive oil. The combination of fish omega-3s and olive oil monounsaturated fats enhances overall fat-soluble nutrient absorption. Eat them on whole grain toast with lemon and fresh herbs. Mash with avocado for a spread. Toss into pasta with garlic and olive oil. Serve over cooked dark leafy greens from food number 3 for a genuinely powerful combined meal. Always eat the bones. They are soft, easily chewed, and contain the majority of the calcium. 2 to 3 servings per week is the research-supported target. Food number 1. Slow-cooked lentils and legumes. The research supporting lentils and legumes as the single most important dietary habit for long-term health and longevity in older adults is more consistent and more compelling than the evidence for almost any other food on this list. When researchers studied the 5 blue zones, the regions of the world where people consistently live to 90 and 100 at rates far higher than average, they found one dietary factor present consistently across all 5. Daily consumption of legumes. Not meat, not fish, not dairy. Legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, fava beans appeared as the single most reliable predictor of longevity across every region studied. A large study tracking elderly populations across multiple countries found that for every 20-gram increase in daily legume intake, risk of death from all causes dropped by approximately 7 to 8%. No other food group showed anything close to that magnitude of survival benefit in older adults. The mechanism goes far beyond simple protein content. The USDA Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging at Tufts University found that lentils create a slow-release amino acid effect. Unlike meat protein, which is digested rapidly in a spike that aging muscles often cannot fully utilize, the protein from slow-cooked lentils is released gradually over several hours. This sustained amino acid delivery matches how elderly muscle tissue actually processes protein, giving it continuous access to repair materials rather than a brief flood it cannot fully absorb. Lentils also contain resistant starch, a prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Those bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, which reduces systemic inflammation, strengthens the intestinal lining, and improves calcium absorption from everything else you eat. This gut-supporting effect is something no meat product can provide. The folate, iron, potassium, and magnesium in lentils address 4 of the most common deficiencies in older Americans simultaneously, with the iron becoming highly bioavailable when paired with vitamin C, which is why traditional preparations almost always include tomatoes or lemon juice. How to use them. Soak lentils for 4 to 6 hours before cooking. This reduces lectins and phytic acid that can interfere with mineral absorption and cause digestive discomfort. After soaking, drain and rinse thoroughly. Simmer in fresh water or bone broth from food number 4 with onion, garlic, turmeric, and cumin for 45 to 60 minutes until completely soft and creamy. That soft, creamy consistency means cellular structure has fully broken down, making every nutrient maximally accessible. Finish with lemon juice and a drizzle of olive oil to boost iron and fat-soluble vitamin absorption. 1 bowl daily is the traditional approach found consistently across blue zone populations, and it may be the single most impactful daily dietary habit an adult over 75 can build. The combination that I consider most powerful for adults over 75 is this: slow-cooked lentils in bone broth, served alongside cooked dark leafy greens in olive oil, with sardines 2 to 3 times per week, miso soup before dinner most evenings, and bone broth as a daily warm drink. This combination addresses simultaneously slow-release protein, prebiotic gut support, collagen and connective tissue repair, anti-inflammatory omega-3s, fat-soluble vitamin absorption, nitric oxide for circulation, and the complete mineral profile for bone and muscle maintenance. No supplement regimen replicates this synergy. Clinical cautions. Kidney disease. Lentils and legumes are high in potassium and phosphorus. If you have reduced kidney function, discuss frequency with your physician before making legumes a daily habit. Blood thinners. Warfarin. Vitamin K in leafy greens and miso influences warfarin dosing. Eat these foods consistently, not variably, and inform your physician about the dietary change. Gout. Sardines and lentils both contain purines. If you manage gout, discuss appropriate portions with your doctor. Soy sensitivity or thyroid conditions. Miso is fermented soy. If you have thyroid disease or soy sensitivity, consult your physician before adding it regularly. Sodium. Miso and commercial bone broth can be high in sodium. Choose low-sodium miso varieties and make your own broth when possible if blood pressure is a concern. The 5 foods I have shared with you today are not trendy superfoods or expensive specialty products. They are traditional whole foods that have supported the health and longevity of older adults across many cultures for centuries, and that 21st century science is now validating through rigorous clinical research. Miso supports gut health and nutrient absorption. Real bone broth provides collagen and minerals for connective tissue repair. Dark leafy greens cooked in healthy fat multiply vitamin delivery and support circulation. Whole sardines offer the most complete single-food nutritional profile available at any American grocery store. And slow-cooked lentils provide the sustained protein release, prebiotic support, and mineral density that aging muscles and aging bodies need most. You do not need to start all 5 this week. Choose one. Make it consistent. Build from there over 90 days. The research is clear that the benefits compound over time, not from any single dramatic change, but from the steady, daily practice of choosing whole, traditionally prepared foods over processed convenience. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 foods surprised you most, and which one are you going to try first? If this was valuable, please share it with someone you care about, give it a like, and subscribe to Healthy Senior Tips for more evidence-based nutrition guidance designed specifically for Americans over 60. Take good care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.